Hello everyone, we are happy to see you all again. In this presentation, we are proudly present our study under the title Cultural Ideology. We are hoping that you can follow our presentation for our next discussion in the classroom later. I am Alvina Iqbal, and here are my two friends, Suci Rahmadanti Adli and Kusmiarsi.
Culture and translation. There are four culture and translation. The relationship between language and culture that can be found in a translation text need to be well understood by translator, because translation is not only a matter of transferring one language into another, but also the culture. Translator must comprehend those difference of cultural viewpoint in order to get good understanding of the source text and can translate it to the people who have different set of beliefs, attitude, values, and rules. The first one is idiomatic translation. The meaning-based translation of the source language text in the natural form of the receptor language will lead to a better result. Idiomatic translation or meaning-based is the one that communicates the source language text meaning and in the natural form of the source language. The meaning should be held constant, not the form. A truly idiomatic translation doesn't sound like translation. It sounds like it was written originally in the receptor language. The second is meaning and shade of meaning. A translator must first analyze the text in the source language carefully to transfer the equivalence meaning into receptor language. The translator must not only maintain the meaning but also the shade of meaning. The third is emotive meaning. Transferring the same emotional effect can be challenging for a translator, since each culture has a different way of communicating. For example, know what? Jadi bagaimana? I see. Saya paham kok. Yeah, right. Ya, terserah Anda. And how could you? Teganya dirimu padaku. The last one is phonology. Phonology. In translation, we may find phonological devices such as intonational pattern, stress, or certain words, a change in the tone, and many more. Language abound in idiom, secondary meanings, metaphor, and other figurative meaning. There are five strategies in translation idiom. The first one is using an idiom of similar meaning and form. This strategy involves using an idiom in the target language which conveys roughly with the same meaning as that of the source language idiom, and in additional consists of equivalent lexical item. For example, is to find the needles in the haystack, meaning mencari jarum di tumpukan jerami. The second one is using idiom of similar meaning but dissimilar form. For example, like father, like son. Buah tidak jatuh jauh dari pohonnya. The third is translation by paraphrase is done when much cannot be found in the target language or when it seems that inappropriate to use idiomatic language in the target text because of difference in stylistic preference of the source and target language. For example, is don't count your chicken before they are hatched. The fourth is translation by omission is done when the idiom has no match in the target language. Its meanings cannot be easily paraphrased or for stylistic reason. It is omitted when the omission doesn't affect comprehensibility. The last one is strategy of compensation, meaning that one may either omit or play down a feature such as idiomaticity at the point where it occurs in the source text and introduce it elsewhere in the target language. For example, English puns in asterisk comic. It means Lucaens Perbanicus.
And next is translation and ideology. Ideology for Hatim and Mason. Ideology encompasses the tacit assumption, beliefs, and value system which are shared collectively by social groups. And they make a distinction between the ideology of translating and the translation of ideology. Whereas the former refers to the basic orientation chosen by the translator operating within a social and cultural context. For the example, between domesticating and foreignizing, meditation supplied by a translator of sensitive text. Meditation is defined as the extent which translator intervene in the transfer process, feeding their knowledge and beliefs into processing the text. Woodcourt, Basnet, and Lavery statement that whatever the purpose, every reproduction is always overshadowed by a certain ideology. Translators act neutral and do not take sides with any parties involved in the bilingual communication process. The ideology that exists in a society is a very influential on translation, considering that the translator is a part of the members of the community and the translation is also aimed at the community because the translations come from different language with different cultural backgrounds, which of course have many differences from other groups of people. Next.
There are two kinds method of translation: foreignization ideology and domestication ideology. Domesticating translation. In the domesticating translation, a translator attempts to produce a target language translation as naturally as possible. And for foreignization translation, translator attempts to take the target language readers to the foreign culture of the source language and make them feel cultural differences. For domesticating translation, this ideology aims to make the expected translation not feel like translation. For example, for at least 10 years now, discourse has been a fashionable term in scientific texts and debates. It is used indiscriminately, often without being defined. Selama 10 tahun belakangan ini, istilah wacana sedang hangat dibicarakan di mana-mana, baik dalam perdebatan-perdebatan maupun teks-teks ilmiah. Tapi penggunaannya sembarang saja, bahkan sering tanpa didefinisikan terlebih dahulu. So we can see in the translation as if we read the original work, not a translation. Language structure, style, and vocabulary that are familiar with the source language. Like the word fashionable, which literally means menurut mode, fashionable, kekinian, and trendy, translate to sedang hangat diperbincangkan di mana-mana. Foreignization translation. This ideology highlights an aspect of foreign culture that is expressed in the reader's language. For example, when he was nearly 13, my brother Bob got his arm badly broken at elbow when it helped, and Bob's fears of never being able to play football were assuaged He was seldom self-conscious about his injuries. Ketika hampir berusia 13 tahun, tangan abangku, Bob, patah di bagian siku. Setelah sembuh dan ketakutan Bob bahwa dia tidak akan pernah bisa bermain football menghilang. Dia jarang menyadari cederanya. From the translation, it can be seen that the structure of target language is very similar to the source language. In the second sentence, patterns that are unusual in Indonesia are also raised, such as patterns in the source text, which the translated literally without changing them to patterns that are more common in Indonesia. The translation also involves the technique of pure borrowing the word football. It is possible to present the sepak bola in its original cultural context so that the reader can imagine it as the cultural of the search language. That's all from us. Thank you for listening our presentation and see you.